Welcome to a winning cup, you guys. Today we have Pratibha with me, and Pratibha and I met because a cup of tried together. She found me, and I was lucky enough to be honored to be interviewed by Pratibha, and that is somewhere on YouTube. And go check that out because what she's doing with that show is absolutely amazing. And I try and share her work as often as I do all the rest of you guys, but it's a little bit hard for me to keep up by now just because and you will notice in that YouTube video that she and I did when she interviewed me, I was on by that, that I was in a totally different space. Right now, I am at my home in Phoenix, Arizona. When that video was done, same person, but in a dark dungeon, basically. My office used to be a dark dungeon. And so basically we also talked about the mental health space. And so welcome, Pratibha, and you can take it away.
Hi, I'm glad to be here finally after
after many tries. I know, right?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're out of the dungeon setting because I'm sure that affected your mental health.
Yeah, the dungeon, it's funny you mentioned that, and I will tell people this publicly that the dungeon setting, my ex office, my ex house, living in Aspen, Colorado, really affected my mental health because, quite frankly, Aspen is not good for people with pre-existing conditions such as cerebral palsy, and you guys can figure that out on your own. I mean, we were. I was living in one of the most expensive municipalities in the country. And so when I got down here to Phoenix, I mentioned to a friend of mine who's also from Colorado, and I said, well, is everything in Phoenix cheap, or am I just coming from the land of expensive, coming down to Middletown, USA, which Phoenix is? And so, yeah, being in Aspen really affected my mental health, and I'm happy to be down here, happy to be functioning, happy to be moving, and happy to just. And I think that now that I see the sun on a daily basis, I think that when they mentioned SAD, seasonal depression disorder, I think that affects all of us more than getting depressed in general.
Definitely. Yeah, I visited Arizona for the first time this year in Phoenix, and it's amazing because, New Jersey, I'm in New Jersey right now, and it's not always sunny, especially winter time.
Yeah.
So going from where trees aren't fully green and robust into Arizona, that was a big change. I loved it.
Yeah.
I felt better immediately when I saw the sun and the palm trees. Environment is key.
Environment is key. And it doesn't help that we were all locked in our houses for a year of 2020, and it doesn't. I was talking about this with people today as we record this. It is August 3rd as we record this 2021, and I'm going to say the Delta variant is out there and it's coming. And I was talking to someone today, and they were saying, well, if the Delta variant comes, we need to halt all things. I said, well, if the Delta variant comes, it comes. We're going to deal with it the best we can. We have more knowledge now all of us as a human collective than we did previously. And getting back to mental health, all these counselors know how to use Zoom and know how to pick up the phone, and there's free counseling services out there. And yeah, so us as a human collective knows how to deal with the Delta variant of the coronavirus more than we did previously.
I like that you said human collective. I
Yeah.
like the word choice.
Yeah, I thought, I figured you did. So, Pasha, Pratibha,
Pratibha.
what,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this straight to you guys. Pratibha, what was the biggest lesson you have learned in the midst of 2020? I know you were going back to school. In the communications major, because we did talk about this. And I know you were caregivers, well, and still are caregiver to your mommy, which I find amazing.
Oh.
And so I applaud all my caregivers, whether the children and the grandparents. I applaud all my caregivers, all the paid aides. I definitely applaud all the caregivers out there, because caregiving is a tough job. Trust me, I did it I took someone for 9 days. And when that someone was deathly ill, it happened to be my father, I stayed by his side. I had my own help, but we had all hands on deck, including my hands, to call 911 if needed, to help if needed. And so when it comes to mental health and the caregiving space, that's another whole can of worms that we can go down. So what is the biggest life lesson you have learned in 2020?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that I needed, right? And a lot of people may need is support. So 2020 was full of support for me. And the life lesson that, I received from 2020 is that I need support. That is a big word for me, because even now, having the challenges with family and, yourself and healing yourself and self-development with various therapies, it's really important for you to have people that you can talk to who can understand you, especially without a bias. So that would be my answer.
Well, I truly believe in mental health. I also truly believe in a pair of good ears, and happens to be a good friend, that they don't have to be in a paid capacity, even though mental health, a friend can only do so much. Mental health counselor could do a lot more than a friend. Sometimes all you need is a friend to get you back up and moving again.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely have a great circle of true friends now. Last year was more so of noise. It was meeting all these personalities, everyone on social media. Now it's more narrowed down to my true friends, people, who would do for me the same I would do for them, because reciprocity is really important for mental health as well. You want a good balance in all your relationships, in whatever kind of a relationship it may be.
Yeah. And you guys know this already about me. Those of you that have my phone number, and I can happily DM it to you guys, if you ever need me to witness anything, be a reference, help you with anything, I can do that in 2 seconds flat. I mean, I'll let off my back.
You're so remarkable. I remember when you had told me you're writing all of these books. Now, how many books are you on now?
I am, because of a move, I am on, I stopped, but as soon as I get my life organized next year in 2020,
Yeah.
you guys don't know this yet, but in 2022, I'm going to publish 12 and number
Wow.
13, and then stop and then be complete, because 13 books is a lot, but I have 11 books out, so I
Yeah.
only need 2 more.
Do you find writing to be therapeutic for you?
I do, but a lot of people know me as I wrote I Come a Win, which was my original autobiography. I find writing very therapeutic, but also I find it challenging because I have to use speech dictation to get the words on the page. I can't type, I can't I can't think straight well enough to get the words on the page. So I have to use speech dictation. So no, do I consider it very therapeutic? Yes, I do, but I also consider it as a gift to others.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually studying to become a speech pathologist. That's what I'm going to school for.
Yeah, well, more power to you. More power to you. I love my speech pathologist behind the scenes. I do, and I'll say that publicly. Um I will always be grateful to speech
Wow.
pathologists. So again, if you guys ever need a real life, well, a real life example of speech pathology success story, you can always use me and reference me, and I'll I'll happily help you guys out, because as I said, speech pathology is my jam, and speech pathology, I would be a mess. So yeah, and Pratibha, what
Yeah.
is your favorite book?
Wow. You know, I love the book by my favorite author, Pieces with Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh. So I love studying Buddhism and spirituality and Sadhguru and all that great stuff. But that would be my favorite book. Any of his books, I can listen to them on repeat, you know, multiple times.
Yeah, well, I have to now figure out a good audio book in the next week. I have a week to figure it
There's
out.
there's
And
so many choices.
there's right now um I'm reading to you guys. I'm actually trying to finish Shadow and Bone, which turned into a Netflix series, and a friend turned me on to that. And then another friend gifted me, which I love, The Universe Has Your Back.
Mm.
And this friend actually gifted me a hard copy of it. And she knows I can't read the books. So I said to her, look, I'll find it on Audible. And um, and she goes, well, as long as you read it, but here, I'm handing it to you anyway. And so I'm now reading The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein, and I like that one very much.
Wow.
So,
I
yeah,
like that title.
it's a gold title, and so if you guys have any Audible recommendation for me, shoot me a DM or shoot me a, you guys know how to find me, and tell me what you said, like
I'll send you my list,
ah,
Will.
yeah, because I need it more than I think.
So
So
what is your favorite book?
my favorite book happens to, I know you were going to look back at me. But my favorite book happens to be A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. And if you ever have read that, and I need to reread it again because I haven't read it in a super long time. I also like the book Becoming. by Michelle Obama, and
Right.
I think that really gives insight to her life. And she said, and a lot of people I've asked her, they go, well, are you going to run for president yourself? She goes, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She said it publicly in the book. And I'm like, oh, great, here we go. But she goes, absolutely not. It was enough work supported my husband / my kids. The
Yeah.
kids are older now, and I can't imagine having young ones running around the White House.
That's a great topic that you bring up, because her mental health and being a president and also taking care of kids.
Yeah.
It's a really important topic, how parents burn out because they prioritize their kids as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, no. My no, and I wanted to ask you this: if you had to pick one person to interview on your show, who would it be?
Oh, wow. It would be Tyler Perry. Yeah, it would be Tyler Perry.
And why?
It would be Tyler Perry because I just find him to be such a remarkable man. I mean, he went from growing up with two, drug addict, abusive parents to becoming a billionaire. I think that's a fantastic story. And he just never gave up after the 7 years of, putting on shows and no one would show up. And then one person finally said, hey, I'm going to invest in you. But that drive of year after year to keep your faith and that mindset, and just the hard work that it takes. And he's never been in therapy. To him, God is his therapy from his beliefs. But I find that to be fascinating as well, because we all have trauma, and he has his traumas, but he projects it through his movies and shows. And he even said it's for, all the Black people in the culture also, because, they don't believe in therapy as well. So that is their therapy when they watch these movies and shows, how he, showcases the scenarios.
Well, it would be Michelle Obama for me. And no, I mean, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
People know this publicly. And I want to ask how anything political, I try and stay away from politics and
Me too.
what religion on my podcast, although if we want to go down that route, we can. But I would ask more about how she did so well as a mom and
Wow.
how
Yes.
she managed to keep the stress level down. Um,
That's a great question.
yeah, how, yeah. And so, what would be your best advice for a person who is a little bit stuck? I'm not stuck, you guys. I got out of the stuck when, yeah, I'm
Congrats.
perfectly fine. But what would be advice for a person who is a little bit stuck and wondering what to do next? I mean, I am wondering what to do next, only in a job aspects, a job where a paycheck comes in, but I'm slowly but surely figuring that out. But what would be your advice for a person who's stuck? And I hate to be blunt, but because of the COVID and the Delta variant and everything else, who is ready just to say, I'm done. I'm done. Take me off of the wall, make the wall stop. And I'm done because suicide is huge. That's what I'm getting at. Suicide is huge, and people take their lives every single day. And it's either diseases that take their lives, or It's either no one loves me, I want the world to stop. And so what
Right.
would be your advice for someone listening who is in that space?
Yeah. So, it's easier to commit suicide than to fight through it. That's the first thing. And I've been there. Possibly, I believe you've been there,
Yeah,
having
I
those thoughts
have.
because of all the pain, right? We really want the pain to go away. We don't want to eliminate ourselves, but we find that that is the only way. When people are on the other side, they don't see anything else. And, my wisdom would be firstly, if you're not suicidal, to find that awareness of why you feel stuck, right? If you're not suicidal, but you're just stuck in general due to COVID financially, maybe emotionally, but not to where you're clinically depressed or suicidal. For that, I would say, maybe write things down. Journaling is a great tool. Write it down and see what you can do about the situation, right? Because stressing over something is not going to resolve it. So I really focused on my breath, and I did a live about this today that, when I woke up, I was feeling a bit stressed due to some personal reasons. And I went back to my breath and I took a deep breath and I gave it to God, to the universe, whatever you believe in, right? So you do what you can and then you give the rest to the higher power. And because worry is something that's temporary, whatever you're worried about right now, most likely you won't be worried about it, maybe 5 years from now, right? Maybe 5 days, 5 months. And it's really to know the severity of what is the root of what's causing you to feel suicidal. So going into suicide, that is something that you need professional clinical help with. So I always recommend QPR Institute. So I certified in my suicide training from QPR Institute. And this is not an affiliate, it's just a program by Dr. Quintinet. And there's courses on this website, that you can purchase to be a gatekeeper to help people prevent, suicide, from them taking their own life by the tools that they provide in the course. And by just asking someone, hey, are you having thoughts about death or taking your own life? And you can't really hurt a person by asking them that. A lot of people have this myth where they believe that if someone who's suicidal already made up their mind, that's not true. You can still save that person from taking their life because it wouldn't make them want to kill themselves anymore. So I feel these trainings are really important for that reason. And I feel like we all mandatory, like it should be something that we should all take because it's helpful for youth and for adults. So someone who's suicidal, obviously contact the suicide prevention hotline. That would be my first thing to say. And second, if you feel comfortable in trusting someone or someone, whoever's listening to this right now, someone who may be suicidal, ask them the question, hey, have you been having, suicidal thoughts lately? And if they say yes, all they can do is answer yes or no, or I don't feel comfortable, talking about this or whatever, or maybe they leave you hanging. But maybe you can reach out to someone they know or ask them to reach out to someone, they feel more comfortable talking with. But the first thing to do is ask someone that question. And if they say yes, you can say, do you want to talk about, do you want to talk about it with me? Or, let me help you. You kind of want to phrase the question where it's saying at the end, where it's saying, okay, like as in, I'm going to come pick you up and we'll go to the clinic together. Okay. Question mark. Most likely the person is going to say yes to that. They're not going to say no because you already comforted them by saying you're going there with them. And then you're asking them at the end, okay. And then most likely they'll be like, sure, or okay, yes.
Huh.
So yeah, that's my wisdom on that, is to get professional help because suicide is not a joke. It's so real. And right now, I know many children who have committed suicide through the people that I know. Teen suicide is number one, especially in India, I believe, where over 18,000 children committed suicide in the year under the age of 15. So that is massive. Yeah.
That is massive. And I am a first reporter for, I know how to talk to people down at a tree in general, but
Good.
people have said to me, Win, you are so compassionate. You're just a stoic rock. And they turn around to me and do it to me all the time. It's like not even funny. But at the same time, I'm not a counselor per se, but I after I get my communications degree, I'm thinking about getting a counseling degree because I want getting my master's in counseling actually, because I want to know what to do. Because if you ask people how are you, or say have a beautiful Monday. I put on Facebook
Yeah.
happy whatever day it is,
Yeah.
and I just leave it at that. And people then gravitate towards that because we're all dealing with a lot. We're all dealing with a lot, but just to know that
Yeah.
we, Pratibha, and I are there to assist you guys if you ever need it. That's all we're doing. And if you say, hey, Win, I'm having a bad day. Can I talk to you by a phone? Can I talk to you by a DM? Can I talk to you by a WhatsApp? Can I talk to you by Zoom? It's like I can sit there and witness and help you guys. I will always, and people know this, I will always be a witness for other people, emotional and physical abuse, because I was fortunate enough to have um, 3 witnesses. One witness who really cared and still does. And the other 2 care, but they're too busy to do anything. But because of full-time jobs, but the one witness who said I'm taking you to counseling, I'll be with you every step of the way, when my stepmom said you need to go to counseling now, and she did it in such a way that she it kind of scared me. And
Right.
I had a friend say, oh no, you're not scared to win that easily. I am. And the friend sat me down and said, okay, this is how we're doing it. I am picking up the paperwork for you. I'm going into counseling with you if you want. And I'm just going to be a supportive friend.
Yes.
And that really helped me. And yes, of course, counselors will allow other people in the counseling sessions if they need to. And so I just want to help people because I have been blessed so much in my life that I was lucky enough when I got emotionally and physically abused. I was lucky enough to have 3 witnesses witness it and go to bat for me. And I was lucky enough that I had uh, another good friend who realized what was going on. She figured it out why I felt
Support.
the plan.
It goes back to support.
Huh?
That word
Yeah,
support.
it goes back to support.
And
So
yeah. And I wanted to mention the movie Joe Bell that I watched recently, and that is a movie based around suicide. Have you heard of it?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, so in that movie, the person, I don't want to give away the movie, but the support wasn't there for the individual that committed suicide, unfortunately. But it's a great movie to watch to give awareness for suicide prevention, that only if people stepped up and were there for others, that wouldn't happen.
No, yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's why we want to give back to you guys as much as we can. Now, Pratibha, where can people find you, and where can people find Kai Tea Together? And is that a YouTube primarily thing, or is that I know it's a YouTube primarily thing, but I wish you would turn it into a podcast, honey. But
Yeah. So I am going to be doing that. Yeah, I will be doing that before I go to
yeah,
school.
yeah.
So it is on YouTube, but mainly I'm on Facebook, in my Facebook Try Together community, and Try Together the page on Facebook, and Try Together on Instagram. Find me by my name through Google, all my different platforms, and Facebook and LinkedIn. But
Just
yeah, it's lovely.
Google her, you guys.
Yeah, just Google my name, everything comes up.
Well, just Google my name too. Everything
That's
pops
true.
up. So just Google, send you guys to the old Google. And of course, I'm on Facebook. You guys can listen to it, pass it along, and let's make the world a better place, you guys, one person at a time. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, you guys.